1977 Greenfield High School Championship team delivered a Class I state championship to Dade County, finishing a perfect 12-0. The team was coached by first-season varsity coach Jim Dykins. The video is going to allow us to relive that perfect season and the memories of it.
Some games you just never forget.
It was one of the coldest games that Greenfield ever played in.
You know, 9 degrees, 20-mile-an-hour winds.
And it was bitterly cold.
But it was all worth it. That single game in December 1977 put a cap on the greatest season in Greenfield history.
All of the leaders on the team felt like it was state championship or bust. We would have been disappointed with anything less than that, and our expectation was we were going to win that thing, and we did.
Practice was going good, and the talent stood out, and we knew that we were going to be really good if we did everything right.
Turns out they did. Under first-year head coach Jim Dykins, the Wildcats produced a perfect 12-0 season, one of only 2 teams in the state that year to be undefeated with no losses and no ties, even winning playoff games some thought they shouldn't have.
The Wildcats were underdogs at Marionville, won 14-12. We were underdogs at Cass Midway, and we beat them. And in the state championship game, the Kansas City paper, St. Joe paper, said that King City would take care of Greenfield.
Well, they were wrong. The Wildcats did fall behind in the title game the first time all year they trailed, but then ripped off 20 straight points to claim their first state title.
Whenever Coach Dykins, Coach Brown had that 77 team, they were extremely tough. They're very talented and extremely tough. And I told the kids before the game, we better tighten your chin straps because they're going to bring their A game. And they did that all the time.
A team with just 6 seniors produced 6 all-state players. They're also the last team from Dade County to win a state championship.
What a pleasure it was to be a part of your trip and success. Fantastic. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
You can't take it away from you, right? Once you're a state champion, you're always a state champion. You can always talk about that. Talk about that with my kids and hopefully my grandkids.
Congratulations to the Greenfield Wildcats, state champions 1977, 12-0 undefeated.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome head coach Jim Dykins, as well as players and coaches from the undefeated state champions from the 1977 Greenfield Wildcats.
I'm going to introduce the players and coaches that are with us today. As I recognize you, please acknowledge the audience, if you will. Bill Andrews, Bob Bryant, Jerry Claxton, Wayne Crouch, Tom Cruel, John Decker, Don East, Ron East, Mike Fox, Greg Friend, Brett Godfrey, Roger Grider, Joe Embry, Charlie Hickey, Jeff Hickey, Darrell Hutchman, Jeff Julian, Greg Killingsworth, Barry Long, Brian Marshall, Chris McLemore, David McNeil, Randy Meadows, Dana Murray, Ray Myers, Joe Reeves, James Reeves, Jeff Russell, Randy Sexton, Brian Sullivan, Kevin Sullivan, Scott Taylor, the late Ron Van Hooser, the late Mark Watson, represented by his brother James Watson, Darren West, Rick Whitaker, Tim Wilson, James Woolridge, and representing his late brother John Woolridge, Melvin Wyatt, Steve Wines, Barry Jenkins, Sam Crutcher, Steve Pierce, head coach Jim Dykins, Coach John Shipley, Coach Butch Vaughn, and Coach Mike Brown. At this time, please welcome Coach Jim Dykins.
Thank you. I'm honored. I'm in awe of standing here today. I turned 70 not too long ago, and the best thing that happened to me up to that point was I got to move to the white tees in golf. I think this is going to take its place today. I have to say thank you to so many people, and I don't have any time to do it, so forgive me on that. Hall of Fame, your staff, the community of Greenfield, our four-school system. They even have their high school football team here today representing this bunch. That means a lot. This was my first head job, but I was there 8 years prior to that working with Tony Phillips and Bob Jackson, mentoring under them. Couldn't have been two finer gentlemen there. People ask me all the time, what makes this class any different than anything I had? I had good teams, great teams. And I don't know the answer. They were coachable. They were receptive to new ideas that I had. They were unselfish. They would say, Coach, I'll move from this position to the next. They were talented. You can't get here on this stage unless you're talented. They were very smart. That stood out to me. And my favorite characteristic of all is they were physical. David told me once, he said, Coach, if you mess with one of us, you're going to get us all. And that's what I remember about this. We've yielded lawyers, doctors, teachers, highway patrolmen, auctioneer. I mean, I can go all the way down, farmers, CEOs. There's everything represented here. I'm so proud of the life and the trail that they have delivered. This team deserves this honor. I'm 100% certain of that. How did I know? Back in 1972, I was 24 years old. These were 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. How did I know that it would wind up here today? How did I know that 3 of my players would not be here, deceased? Johnny, Mark, and Ron. How did I know that 2 of these boys would officiate my son's funeral in 1990? How did I know that? How did I know that one of these boys, 6 seniors is all we had, how did I know that one of those boys would play professional football? You don't know. Wouldn't it be nice to go through life undefeated with no tragedy and no sickness, no cancer? It doesn't happen. Wouldn't it be nice, Coach Mullins, Coach Hancock, and I could go on and on and on, if you could have a state championship every year? It just does not happen. But I can tell you one thing I've learned in the last little bit. Looking back in time, one little tiny glimpse of time, in 1977, the stars aligned for us. And it was indeed our perfect storm. I've traveled far, and it feels like far. But today, I can honestly say my cup runneth over. So proud of them.
Anyone here related to Greenfield, if you'd please stand at this time, all the family members, and I know your current teams here as well, if they'd please stand. 1977 Greenfield High School football team, enshrined as a member in recognition of your outstanding contributions to the sport of football.